16 famous actors who were fired from hit TV shows. American television once gave us the illusion of perfect families and endless laughter. One day they were untouchable icons in the living rooms of millions, providing a comforting sense of belonging and the kind of cinematic magic that defined an entire era. The next day they were ruthlessly erased from the screen. Behind those radiant smiles and million-dollar paychecks lay bitter ego wars, devastating personal demons, and the brutal rhythm of the Hollywood machinery. Welcome to Timeless Hollywood Faces. Please stay with us and hit subscribe, because fame is an unforgiving contract. And sometimes the people who made us laugh the hardest were the exact ones forced to walk away in the deepest shadows. Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen was once the undisputed king of modern television comedy and a guaranteed box office favorite. He possessed an effortless screen presence that turned a simple sitcom into a global cultural phenomenon. Millions of families tuned in every week, making him the highest-paid actor in television history and an untouchable figure in the industry. But somewhere along the way, the delicate balance finally broke. Behind closed doors and across highly publicized media interviews, a toxic war of egos erupted between him and the powerful show creator. His public downfall, fueled by a relentless struggle with addiction and highly erratic behavior, became too massive a burden. Even the most forgiving network executives who had profited wildly from his talent could no longer ignore the chaos. When a man is paid millions of dollars simply to play a fictionalized version of his own flaws on television, where does the arrogance begin, and where does the madness end? The most shocking firing in recent television memory stands as a brutal reality check. It proves that no matter how much money you generate for the network, the machinery of fame will always find a cold and calculated way to replace you the moment you become a corporate liability. Shannon Doherty. Shannon Doherty defined an entire decade as the ultimate teenage icon. With her fierce and passionate portrayal of Brenda Walsh, she became the defining face of the 1990s youth culture. She commanded the television screen with a captivating, rebellious energy that resonated deeply with a generation searching for authenticity. Then the relentless rhythm of Hollywood began to rot behind the velvet curtains. Whispers of constant workplace tensions reported diva behavior, and a deep emotional isolation from her castmates painted a very dark picture in the tabloid press. She famously found herself pushed out of not just one but two massive hit television shows at the absolute peak of their cultural relevance. Do you believe that a woman fiercely standing her ground is often unfairly labeled as difficult in an industry historically dominated by men? Her brilliant but incredibly turbulent television career leaves behind a haunting question about the true cost of creative passion. It reminds us how a magnificent cinematic talent can be forever overshadowed by backstage battles and the unforgiving narrative spun by a media machine that loves to build idols just to tear them down. Suzanne Somers. Suzanne Somers was the radiant blonde soul of late 1970s television. She brought the delightfully naive Chrissy Snow to life with such natural charm, creating a character so universally loved that she almost entirely propelled her sitcom to the top of the national ratings. She was the golden girl of the era, bringing endless laughter into American living rooms. But the comforting illusion of a happy television family shattered when real-world economics intervened. She asked the producers for a salary equal to her male counterpart, John Ritter, which the network executives saw as a profound act of ungrateful defiance. Her screen time was drastically and humiliatingly reduced before she was ultimately fired and completely erased from the very show she had helped build into an empire. Would you be willing to risk your entire career at its absolute zenith just to demand the fairness and respect you rightfully deserve from your employers? Her removal remains a cold indictment of that particular era. It highlights a painful truth that Hollywood loves a beautiful smile but ruthlessly punishes the women who dare to demand equality within the unforgiving machinery of fame. Delta Burke. Delta Burke redefined the standards of sitcom beauty in the 1980s with her unforgettable Southern glamour. As the magnificent Suzanne Sugarbaker, she delivered an effortless screen presence and sharp comedic timing that made her an absolute television powerhouse. She was radiant, untouchable, and the undisputed anchor of a show that celebrated strong, independent women. Then the toxic environment behind the cameras began to take a devastating personal toll. Natural weight gain caused by underlying medical issues led to severe body shaming from the very male producers who had initially hired her. The resulting media war and unbearable workplace hostility eventually forced her out of the spotlight she had rightfully earned, leaving viewers stunned. How cruel is our society when it so eagerly elevates a woman for her physical perfection only to mercilessly cast her aside the moment her body begins to undergo natural changes. The tragedy of her painful exit exposes the truly unforgiving nature of the entertainment business. It is a melancholic reminder that an actress's value was tragically and unfairly tied to her waistline, leaving an unrecoverable damage on a once brilliant star rotting behind the velvet curtains. Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler was the infectious young energy that redefined sketch comedy in the early 1990s. With his signature guitar and endearingly absurd musical performances, he brought a fresh, rebellious spirit to Saturday Night Live, capturing the hearts of millions. But the unpredictable machinery of television comedy is notoriously devoid of loyalty. Without any clear explanation or warning, he found himself abruptly fired in 1995 during a ruthless internal cast purge. The network simply decided his particular brand of humor was no longer the future, leaving a brilliant young comedian suddenly stripped of his creative home. Can a completely unjust closed door ever serve as the exact catalyst you need to build your own absolute empire? That cold rejection from late-night television stands as one of the most legendary miscalculations in broadcasting history. It forced a misunderstood talent out into the cinematic world, where he eventually built an undisputed comedic dynasty that made him a billionaire. Chris Farley. Chris Farley was the giant beating heart of Saturday Night Live during its most chaotic era. He possessed an extraordinary physical genius and a willingness to completely drain his own body just to bring endless, explosive laughter to the audience. Then, the darker reality of his relentless performance schedule began to fracture his spirit. He was unceremoniously fired alongside Sandler in that exact same corporate purge. This devastating rejection compounded his incredibly deep emotional insecurities and accelerated his tragic descent into severe substance abuse as he desperately tried to cope with the immense pressure of fame. Why do the brilliant souls who bring us the most joy so often hide the deepest and darkest loneliness? His forced departure from the show was far more than a simple personnel change. It was a harrowing warning bell for a beautiful but deeply wounded life that was slowly being consumed by the unforgiving fire of the entertainment industry. Damon Wayans. Damon Wayans arrived on the biggest comedy stage in America, armed with a fiercely original voice and a burning desire to completely revolutionize sketch television. He was a vibrant and undeniable talent ready to make his permanent mark on the cultural landscape. But the rigid traditional structure of the program constantly suffocated his creative instincts. Deeply frustrated by being forced into highly restrictive and stereotypical roles, he made a calculated decision to deliberately break character and sabotage a live sketch on national television. This profound act of on-air defiance resulted in him being instantly fired by the show creator. If a powerful system refuses to let you shine authentically, would you dare to destroy it, to free yourself? That wildly impulsive moment of rebellion was far from a career-ending disaster. It was the crucial opening shot that allowed him to walk away and build a monumental television dynasty that completely redefined Black popular culture for a generation. Chris Rock. Chris Rock harbored the fiercely intelligent mind of a profound generational thinker disguised as a young sketch comedian. He possessed a razor-sharp observational brilliance that had the rare potential to completely change the cultural conversation. Then, the crushing limitations of the network television format completely marginalized his profound intellect. He found himself continuously sidelined and trapped in highly repetitive background roles that entirely ignored his true capabilities. Feeling deeply alienated and profoundly frustrated by the lack of vision from the producers, he was eventually quietly let go in the early 1990s. How deeply agonizing is it to know you possess a historically great mind but remain locked in a room where nobody listens? His silent exit from that legendary stage was actually the greatest liberation of his entire career. Television did not lose a mediocre sketch player that day. Instead, the world gained one of the most vital and unparalleled comedic philosophers of our time. Looking back at these deeply profound departures, is there a specific television icon from the 80s or 90s whose sudden absence still leaves an empty space in your living room today? We would love to hear your personal memories and thoughts in the comments section below. If you are captivated by these untold historical secrets hidden just behind the velvet curtains, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. We have many more shocking stories to uncover as we step into the darker second half of our list. Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. was the captivating savior who breathed an effortless new life into a television show that was slowly losing its magic. He possessed an undeniable charm that instantly reminded audiences why he was once considered the most gifted actor of his generation. But somewhere along the way, the crushing weight of his personal demons completely took over. A relentless public self-sabotage fueled by devastating drug addiction and highly publicized arrests left the network executives completely heartbroken, but with no other choice. They were ultimately forced to terminate his contract despite their profound reluctance. When a deeply brilliant man continuously destroys his own lifeline right in front of the world, should we feel anger or profound pity for his suffering? That devastating dismissal was the absolute darkest rock bottom of his entire life. Yet history proves it was the necessary collapse required for a legendary cinematic hero to eventually be entirely reborn from the ashes. Mackenzie Phillips. Mackenzie Phillips was the ultimate relatable teenager and a comforting companion to the American youth throughout the late 1970s. Her vibrant energy brought a genuine warmth to the screen, making her an irreplaceable part of millions of living rooms. Then the horrific hidden trauma of her deeply troubled personal life began to rot behind the velvet curtains. Crushing family secrets and severe substance abuse completely derailed her promising career, leading to the unprecedented tragedy of being fired not just once but twice from the exact same television program. How is it humanly possible for someone to bring endless joy to countless families on television when their own reality is a terrifying and inescapable nightmare? Her tragic downward spiral stands as a deeply heartbreaking reminder. It proves that all the bright studio lights in Hollywood can never truly heal the quietly bleeding wounds hidden deep inside a broken soul. Dana Plato. Dana Plato was the sweet and radiant girl next door who captured the innocent heart of American television. As the beloved Kimberly Drummond, she delivered a completely effortless screen presence that helped define an entire era of family sitcoms. But the protective rhythm of the industry instantly vanished when real-world nature intervened. Her real-life pregnancy clashed entirely with the perfectly innocent image demanded by the network, and she was coldly discarded from the show without any sense of loyalty. What happens to a society when the deeply sacred act of a woman becoming a mother is brutally treated as an unacceptable breach of a corporate contract? Her quiet removal was far more than a simple casting change. It was the devastating catalyst for a tragic personal decline that completely exposed the ruthless machinery of fame and how it entirely consumes child actors before casting them into the shadows. Jeff Conaway. Jeff Conaway possessed the rugged cinematic magnetism of a classic Hollywood heartthrob, effortlessly transitioning his undeniable brilliance onto the television screen. He brought a wonderfully reckless charm to his legendary role, making him a permanent fixture in the golden era of sitcoms. Then the intoxicating temptations of stardom completely swallowed his potential. Chronic lateness, entirely forgotten lines, and a deepening surrender to heavy substance abuse completely exhausted the patience of the producers, making his painful exit an absolute inevitability. Is the most dangerous trap of sudden fame the blinding illusion that you can do absolutely anything without ever having to pay the ultimate price? He was a profoundly natural talent who tragically lacked the emotional armor needed to withstand the cruel realities of the entertainment business. His lonely departure leaves behind a melancholic void and a haunting warning about the deeply fragile nature of stardom. Molly Ringwald. Molly Ringwald was a sparkling child prodigy whose radiant smile instantly lit up the earliest seasons of television. She possessed an undeniable natural charm that effortlessly captured the hearts of families across the nation. Then the cold business of network television decided to drastically alter its course. In a ruthless creative shift to narrow down the massive cast, the producers quietly let her go. Being dismissed from a hit program at such a tender age felt like an incredibly devastating blow that could have easily destroyed a fragile young spirit. Has there ever been a moment in your life where a deeply painful rejection was actually the greatest gift destiny could have ever given you? That early dismissal was not a tragic end, but rather a glorious beginning. Had she never been pushed out of that television dormitory, she would have never walked into the cinematic world to become the ultimate reigning queen of teenage movies in the 1980s. Valerie Harper. Valerie Harper was an absolute television titan who was so universally beloved that a network built an entire show exclusively bearing her name. She was the fiercely independent heart of American comedy, bringing warmth and profound laughter into millions of living rooms. But the comforting warmth of her television home quickly turned into a freezing battleground over fair compensation. An unprecedented and fiercely bitter legal war regarding her salary erupted with the production studio. The network executives chose the ultimate nuclear option by brutally firing her and completely killing off her beloved character on her own namesake show. Would you ever dare to stand up and sue the very people signing your paychecks, even if you knew the ultimate price was being permanently erased? Her shocking absence stands as a chilling historical indictment of corporate power. It is a haunting reminder that media giants will never hesitate to erase your entire legacy the exact moment you dare to cross the invisible line and demand the respect you truly deserve. John Amos. John Amos was the profoundly strong patriarchal anchor who provided a deeply dignified representation of a black father on television. He delivered a powerful and commanding screen presence that single-handedly brought an unprecedented level of respect to the sitcom landscape. Then his fierce dedication to authenticity clashed violently with the stereotypical comedic vision of the white writers. He vehemently refused to accept storylines that he felt insulted the dignity of his community. Because he courageously chose to fight for the honor of his people, the producers ruthlessly fired him and tragically killed off his iconic character in a sudden off-screen accident. Forced to choose between keeping an incredibly lucrative job and defending the sacred pride of your entire community, what would you sacrifice? He was unjustly cast out by a network that refused to listen to his truth. Yet history remembers him not as a defeated actor, but as an unyielding pillar of strength who absolutely refused to bow down to the degrading machinery of cheap entertainment. Roseanne Barr. Roseanne Barr was the undisputed working-class queen of television who famously brought her legendary program back to life with massive explosive ratings. She was the incredibly powerful voice of the forgotten Middle America, commanding absolute authority over the entire broadcast landscape. But the incredibly fragile empire she rebuilt was entirely shattered by her own catastrophic actions. A single racially insensitive statement posted on social media instantly triggered a massive corporate panic. The network swiftly canceled the entire revival and then miraculously resurrected it by completely wiping her existence from the fictional universe she had originally created. In our modern digital age, does a severe momentary lapse in judgment truly justify completely eradicating a groundbreaking legacy built over 3 long decades? Her ultimate downfall is a deeply chilling testament to the incredibly fragile nature of modern stardom. It proves that no matter how untouchable your power might seem, in a world devoid of forgiveness, you can always be permanently replaced by the very people you brought into the spotlight. Looking back at these 16 familiar faces that once captivated millions of hearts, we realize a profoundly bitter truth about the television industry. The screens in our living rooms provided us with a comforting illusion of absolute permanence and beautifully unbreakable families. But hidden just behind the velvet curtains of fame lies nothing more than a cold business contract. Sickness, aging, personal rebellion, or deeply tragic mistakes simply have no place the exact moment the studio lights turn on. These iconic stars were abruptly forced to walk away. Some eventually found their own peaceful salvation, while others tragically sank deeper into the shadows. Yet the beautiful memories they permanently etched into our youth are completely untouchable and something no corporate machinery can ever erase. Thank you for spending your time with Timeless Hollywood Faces, uncovering these deeply melancholic files. Please remember to subscribe so we can meet again in our next untold story. Goodbye and take care.